Oh my god, EA Sports. What did you do to 6v6 EASHL? It is so broken, it is so unbalanced, I can't even enjoy it, and it's been a game mode that I've been enjoying for the last decade. So today we're going to talk a little bit about EASHL and a major problem right now with the hip check. Now before I get started, if you're here for Hockey Ultimate Team or Versus or 1v1 gameplay, get the hell out of here, alright? All my complaints are about 6v6 EASHL. I don't care if it works in HUD. So, with the hip check, there are so many conflicting issues that I need to start from the beginning. First off, attributes. Attributes mean nothing when it comes to hip checks. Your body checking, your balance, your strength, your height and weight have no influence over your ability to deliver or your ability to absorb a hip check. Now, to prove this point, I created a little experiment to show how unbalanced the hitting truly is. Let me introduce to you to the Dude brothers, Little Short and Big Tall. Little Short dude is 5'5", 120 pounds, and has every single attribute at 36 overall, except for speed, agility, acceleration, and endurance. Big Tall dude, his older brother, is 6'9", 290 pounds, and has every attribute at 99 overall, except for speed, agility, acceleration, and endurance. I thought Big Tall would fit nicely with the Philadelphia Flyers, and Little Short would find a home with the Montreal Canadiens. I went to Play Now, selected Superstar difficulty, and I did not change any sliders at all. Little dude absolutely dominated his bigger brother over and over and over again. Anytime Big Tall dude touched a hip check, he falls over. The hip check is a weapon of mass destruction in NHL 24. Everything it touches, it destroys. This experiment proves that attributes do nothing to influence the hip check. The biggest, strongest player that you can create is still vulnerable to every hip check thrown their way. The second problem with the hip check is how unbalanced it is because of the lack of penalties. Now think about it. If you use the right stick to body check someone, you are inviting penalties such as boarding, charging, elbowing, cross-checking, and checking from behind. The only penalty that you can get while delivering a hip check is interference, but even that doesn't get called all the time. I've seen some wild stuff. Players hip checking players who don't have the puck and no whistle is blown, right? This is why people spam the hip check along the boards in EASHL. It's a great way to take the puck away from the puck carrier, and most importantly, there is no chance of getting any of those other penalties while delivering the body check. The third problem is EA Sports themselves. I mean, it's clear that these changes were meant for Hockey Ultimate Team. Basically 1v1 hockey where only one player can throw a hip check because the AI will never throw a hip check, and you can only control one player at a time, right? So it's not too bad there. But when we take these new mechanics into 6v6 EASHL and everyone's using them, you begin to see how unbalanced the hip check actually is. I mean, EA Sports, do you guys even beta test this stuff for EASHL? Or is every gameplay decision you make meant for Hockey Ultimate Team? I mean, listen to the disconnect between what they want the game to be and what it actually is.
The physics-based contact feature revolutionizes checking in NHL 24.
Revolutionizes checking in NHL 24. Shut up. Shut up. It's an unbalanced mess.
And ramping up the fun and authenticity of defensive plays.
Ramping up the authenticity of defensive plays? Right. Because when I watch the NHL, everyone's just throwing their ass around at one another.
If you land a big check, your opponent will re-enter the play slower.
If you land a big check, your opponent will re-enter the play slower. Okay, that's true. The problem is no one uses that check. Everyone uses the hip check because of how unbalanced it is. Oh, and by the way, players do jump right back up to their skates after being hit with the hip check.
But if you don't connect, you'll be left out of position.
But if you don't connect, you'll be left out of position? You see how in this clip the player bumps off the puck carrier? If that was a hip check, he would have got him. You just have to touch someone with the hip check to lay them out, making the other checks useless.
We couldn't be more excited to show you what's new this year.
So that's it. EA Sports, I don't know what the hell you're thinking with these changes. I mean, whether it's the hip checks, full pressure, the dump, goal celebrations, goalie controls, it's like you guys always take a step back on the things you focus on. So thanks for looking out for the EASHL community. Good God.